Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In today's video I'm going to be talking about Celestial Hypogean heroes, the ones out of which are currently released. What do I recommend for you to build up? I'm going to start it off with a free-to-play standpoint, assuming you spend nothing on the game, and then we're going to build on from that, because a free-to-play perspective will be talking about what is the most essential hero or heroes to be building up, and to also be planning for future releases of heroes which will be coming out. So the number one thing I want to mention is that, in my opinion, Reinier is a must build to Mythic Plus. He is the most important Celestial Hypogean hero in the game, because I know there are team variations you can run in the Dream Realm boss without having Reinier, but they're not going to be as effective as having Reinier at Mythic Plus, and that will mean your ranking in Dream Realm will be lower, and that will mean that you earn less temporal essences over time, and temporal essences are such an important resource for improving the power of your heroes and developing your PvP heroes to compete in the Supreme Arena and Arena, which is really what your focus will be towards the mid to end game of AFK journey. And because Reinier will allow you to earn more resources for your account, he is a must build, and his skills are just very unique. I really doubt that they will add a hero into the game or multiple heroes into the game, at least for a long time, which will make Reinier useless in the Dream Realm. I think he will always have a place in Dream Realm, and if you take a look at the top leaderboards, because now they have the historical top scoreboard for all of the different Dream Realm bosses, in almost every single one of them, apart from maybe Lone Gaze, Reinier Mythic Plus is in the top team, and even in the one like Lone Gaze, he is in one of the top teams, and the only reason he's not in the top team is because that's if they have, like, the people have 2 to 3 Celestial Hypogeans or at Supreme Plus on their account, then it can replace Reinier. But for the most part, to still be competitive, having just Reinier Mythic Plus is going to maximize your potential in a lot of these bosses. So that is why you cannot go without Reinier on your account, and I can understand saving for future heroes and not wanting to be power crept, but Reinier, in my opinion, is not going to be a hero which will be power crept, at least any time in the near future. He's a must build on your account, the first one you must build, and you should take him to Mythic Plus and do not take him beyond that. Even if you're a spender, like even on my account, we don't have Reinier beyond Mythic Plus because beyond Mythic Plus is going to be a waste. He's not a key hero to be used in other areas, and his Supreme Plus skill is very lackluster, so do not take him beyond Mythic Plus. Now, number 2. The number 2 best hero to build, and this is, in my opinion, if you're free to play, this is the only other hero you should be building until new Celestial Hypogean heroes come out. And it is going to be Scarlita. So Scarlita, for 2 reasons. Not really for a Dream Realm use. Like, all Celestial Hypogean heroes will have some variable use in Dream Realm. Like, in certain bosses, they will be the most effective option. Like, for example, Talene in certain bosses is the best. Freyestro is the best in certain Dream Realm bosses. And even Scarlita is the best in certain one of them. And even like in the Crystal Beetle, if you guys remember, the team, which was the top performing team, was Scarlita-based team. And also Freyestro if you had him too. So I'm not going to really be talking about Scarlita, and other than Reinier, I'm not going to be talking about these heroes from the Dream Realm standpoint, because although these heroes, when they're built up, are going to allow you to perform a little bit better in the Dream Realm, if you just have Reinier at Mythic Plus and you have your built up Corrin, Marilee, Odie, you can compete for the top ranks of Dream Realm. You do not need these Celestial Hypogean heroes on top of it, and honestly, these heroes, because they're so kind of variable in where they perform well, I can easily see future Celestial Hypogean heroes which are going to be released to outperform these heroes in certain Dream Realm bosses, but I don't think anything will take the place of Reinier Mythic Plus, at least in any time in the near future. So that's about Dream Realm. So why do I recommend Scarlita? It is because, in my opinion, she is the best PvP hero by a large margin currently available. If you take a look at the top ranking arena defenses, non-seasonal arena in your server, I guarantee you out of the top 10, at least 5, and usually out of the top 5, will all have Scarlita on them. And they might have a lot of other Celestial Hypogean heroes on them. However, when you think about Scarlita's kit, she will at the beginning of the battle give you for 20 seconds shielding onto your weakest ally, a pretty hefty amount of shielding, which is going to prevent them from dying. And if you're running like an even offensive comp, like let's say Diona as your hyper carry, maybe even Talene, you will want to have Scarlita there to give added protection to make sure that Diona doesn't get nuked at the beginning of the fight. So even when you're talking about a hyper carry comp, you're still using Scarlita kind of as a support for that comp, and she is the best in slot option. And then when you're talking about actually dealing the damage and wiping out enemy teams, Scarlita will do that the best. She is the biggest threat and the biggest menace on defense when you have a Stroll comp all built around protecting and having the whole team survive and allowing them to then protect their Scarlita and that Scarlita just finish off the enemies. It's one of the strongest defenses currently in the non-seasonal arena, and of course if it's the strongest in non-seasonal arena, definitely in Supreme Arena it is going to be the best, because in Supreme Arena you're just going to be limited in your defense options. And so if it was good in non-season arena, it would definitely carry over to being one of the best in Supreme Arena. And if you talk actually about it, on Supreme Arena, you would want to have a Scarlita on each one of your 3 teams if that were possible. But not necessarily would you want to say the same thing about like Diona, because even though he needs a comp totally built around him. But Scarlita can slot into almost any different team comp, which is why she's so great. So apart from that, she also has some Dream Realm uses, but that doesn't matter too much. PvE uses, again, she was really good in the Trial of Abyss, and if there are more modes like that in the future where you're unlocked and able to use any hero on your account to clear high level difficulty enemies, she will be good for that. So overall, Scarlita is a very solid hero, and I do not think she is going to be so heavily power crept, because again, she has really unique effects, and even if you're using her just for that initial 20 seconds of shielding to protect your teammate, that alone has so much value. And maybe there could be a support Celestial Hypogean released in the future that has more protection capabilities for your team, and I can definitely see that happening. But the Scarlita also comes with that damage threat, and if she is not taken care of as soon as she descends, she is going to wipe out your entire team. And when you have her on defense, even if I have, for example, my Scarlita offense that I'm attacking into people, I am scared that the enemy Scarlita is just going to wipe me out before I can wipe out their team. So with that all being said, Scarlita I think is the second best option, and I would, even if for example there are 2 options now. After your Reinier Mythic Plus, you can save all of your resources and see if any future really overpowered Celestial Hypogean hero comes out, because that definitely could be the case. It is possible that that could happen, and that would not be a bad option. But if you want to begin building another hero after Reinier, I would say Scarlita. Begin trying to get her to Mythic Plus, and then probably stop at her Mythic Plus, even though she is a key PvP hero. And with the PvP heroes, it is recommended to keep ascending, eventually even to Supreme Plus. The thing is that it will take an additional 6 copies on top of Mythic Plus to get to Supreme Plus, and only to unlock slightly improved skills, and those skills might and it might just not be worth it, and those 6 copies could be used investing in another Celestial Hypogean. So in my opinion, for free to play, if you're going to do Scarlita, take her to Mythic Plus and stop there, at least for right now. She is going to have a lot of her effectiveness even at Mythic Plus without needing much more beyond that. So that is my recommendation about that. Now, as for the other heroes, I do not recommend to be building any of them currently, because even though they're good, like for example Talene, Diona, I'm going to group up Talene and Diona into a similar spot, because they're both kind of like hyper carry damage threats, and they both, like Talene is a mage, Diona is a marksman. And if they are protected, and if they can get off their consistent damage, they can wipe out an enemy team. So team comps, when you're building them, are basically going to be centered around that. But the problem with both of them is they are both going to be a little bit susceptible to being killed, and so you will need a comp which is fully protecting them. And because they are damage dealer hyper carries, they're not going to be as effective on defense. Talene is different because Talene does have survivability in her kit and the resurrection, but the issue with that is that if she is killed, she takes time to get back going again, because her main damage source is her ultimate. So first of all, she has to revive, she has to regenerate enough energy to begin casting her ultimate again, and also if she is killed and the rest of her team is killed, it's already over for her. She can't come back to life if all of her team is dead. And as you kill her multiple times, she will have a slower basically resurrection time period you have to wait for. So because of that, even though she has protection in herself, it is not foolproof, and it will severely lower her damage even after getting killed for the first time. So that is the issue with Talene. And with Diurnal, it's the same type of thing. Although that being said, if you have a really well built up Diurnal and a Protect the Diurnal comp, again with Scarlita on the defense or Talene, it is an almost impenetrable defense. If the enemy cannot kill your hyper carry, then you are almost guaranteed to win the fight. But because, again, in these team comps, the common trend is going to be any team comp that has like a Diurnal or Talene on non-seasonal defense, they'll definitely be running a Scarlita on top of that. Because the Scarlita protection is kind of essential for them. So again, because of that, Scarlita is going to be the more recommended one, because who knows in the future if they release a Celestial Hypogean who's an even stronger hyper carry than Diurnal or Talene, they are going to be replaced. But the protection that is offered by Scarlita, I don't think that will be replaced. And even if there is a support Celestial Hypogean that comes out that offers insane protection, you'll just want to pair it up with Scarlita. Again, Scarlita plus that protection is just even more menacing. So that's kind of the thing. The utility from Scarlita, not just raw damage, is what is amazing for her. And I know there is some utility in Talene because she can also provide a third life for your main tank. But I don't think that utility is enough in and of itself, or not a third life, I mean an added resurrection. I was thinking about Thorin, but like a lot of heroes would only be a second life. So that is my opinion about them. And now Friesto and Burial, who are the final two Celestial Hypogean heroes. So again, both are viable, and the thing is, all of these Celestial Hypogean heroes are viable on PvP. I'm not saying that they're not. And when they're built up, they all will be good options. You're probably going to be running them even on your non-season arena defense, no matter which ones they are. But in terms of a tier, I think all of these heroes are a bit one tier below Scarlita for PvP, and for Reinier, in PvE content, Reinier is the king of PvE. Nothing even comes close to it, even though Friesto has a lot of uses and like 3 to 4 Dream Realm bosses. If you don't have Reinier there as well, then you're not going to be doing as well. So Reinier is in almost every single boss fight. So Friesto and Burial of course is good in a Stroll type comp with Florabelle and yeah, Florabelle, Zoo type stall comp with many summons. And he is good there. And Friesto can also be good in that type of comp. And Friesto, of course, has a lot of tanking capability because him and his illusion both have the same stats. So it's basically 2 heroes for the price of 1. But again, Thorin offers some really unique effects, and in many situations Thorin is actually even preferred to protecting your hyper carry than a Friesto. Like for example, if we're talking about the Diurnal hyper carry comp, when everything just needs to keep the Diurnal alive long enough to get his ultimate cast off, then you will want to have a Thorin solo packing him much more than a Friesto with 2 copies of himself. Because if they can get to your back line and start attacking and focusing Diurnal, you need the solo pack protection. The Friesto is not going to help you. So that is the issue about these heroes. And so even though they are good heroes, definitely, and all the thing is, all Celestial Hypogean heroes are going to be good heroes, but the question is which are going to be top tier, S plus tier, and top of S plus tier. And currently I think the only one for PvP which is top of S plus tier is Scarlita, and the only one in PvE who is the top of S plus tier is Reinier, and that's why those are the only 2 I recommend for right now. And of course I have limited experience because I haven't built up anything other than these 2 heroes on my account. But I do see defenses in the top ranks of Supreme Arena. We always finish generally in the top 5, and in my non-seasonal arena, we are usually ranked 2 to 3 in that. So we see the top defenses, and also just based on their skill kits and how people are reacting to it, and based on videos on YouTube and all of that, I do believe that this advice I'm giving is going to be accurate. And I do think that if they release a Celestial Hypogean support, which will probably be coming out, because as of right now, it was Reinier who was the first one, but he's not really like a PvP-oriented support. If they release a PvP-oriented support, I think that will be a top of the S plus tier must-have Celestial Hypogean hero. So I really need to begin saving for that, and that's what I do recommend, because in this game, honestly, the supports can win you the fight, and they are usually the top tier heroes like Haywin, Damien, even sometimes Rowan. These are top tier heroes because in each one of your teams you're building, you're going to want at least 1 to 2 supports, sometimes even 3. They just have so much utility, and then you just have 1 hyper carry or one decent damage dealer, and you have just all protection for that 1 hero. So that's the thing, and as of right now, there's not going to be any Celestial Hypogean heroes released currently in this new season until the next new season begins, which will be after September 10th. This is what they mentioned in the developer notes about a month ago, that only 2 Celestial Hypogean heroes will be released in this current season, and we've now had Freyasto and Tailin, so no more should be released in this season. It will only be after September 10th, which gives you a lot of time to save and stockpile resources or to begin working on Scarlita if that is what you choose to do. But I think that, in my opinion, I would not go beyond Reinier and Scarlita unless you're spending on the game. If you're talking from a free-to-play or even a light spender perspective, I think these heroes are the least likely to be power crept. Currently, they are the top tier, and even with new additions, I do not see how they are going to be ever bad options to be running. And I think that the most bang for your buck heroes, basically. And to be even safer, just get them to Mythic Plus and don't go beyond that. Even Mythic Plus Scarlitas can perform just fine on defense and can be very good options. And anyway, like if you're talking about the top ranks, it's all just going to depend on how highly everything is ascended. Like if there's someone with Paragon 2 heroes, whether you have a Mythic Plus or a Supreme Plus Scarlita, you're going to be losing anyway. So just get them to Mythic Plus, you'll have the potential to set a strong defense, which can deal with a lot of get you into higher rank tier and bracket, and just stop at Mythic Plus. This is the other major advice for Celestial Hypogeans. For me, I've gone above Mythic Plus for Scarlita because I have spent and I'm trying to compete for the top ranks, and so I will continue to do this and keep ascending the Scarlita up the Paragon tiers. But for future Celestial Hypogeans that come out, I'm not really inclined to be spending that much, so I think I will just stop at Mythic Plus for the most part, unless they just seem like a game-breaking long-term great hero option. But going above Mythic Plus is going to be very expensive, because also you're very limited with how many copies of these heroes you can get. And mainly it's going to come from your guild coins. But anyway guys, that's going to be it. We have 2 months basically to save up until any new Celestial Hypogeans can even be released. And in my opinion, Reinier at Mythic Plus, you can even stop after that. Or you can also begin working on Scarlita to Mythic Plus and stop there. That's my overall advice. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what your opinions are in the comment section down below. But thank you for watching, and if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe because we upload daily AFK journey videos. And until the next video, everyone, peace out for now, and thank you for watching.